Hello everyone, welcome to my video class. This is Satish Kumar. We are going to discuss about analog modulation techniques, chapter 2. This is the second chapter in analog communication subject. This subject is for Diploma in Electronics and Communication students, third semester in Telangana state. Right? Till now we studied first chapter, that is basics of communication system and noise, and yesterday we started analog modulation techniques. In that we covered time domain equation of AM signal, modulation index of AM signal, frequency spectrum of AM signal, effects of overmodulation, bandwidth of AM signal, and power relation. Power relation of AM signal. What is the total power and what is the sideband power, what is the carrier power, right? So if you, next topic is need of DSB-SC and SSB modulation. So if you want to revise, if I revise the last class, the time domain equation of AM signal contains three signals. One is carrier wave, upper sideband and lower sideband. The frequency of carrier wave is, the frequency is omega CT or FC. The frequency of upper sideband is omega C plus omega M or FC plus FM, whereas the frequency of lower sideband is FC minus FM. It contains three signals, or I can say three components, and each component is a separate signal. When you give message as well as carrier to the inputs of modulator, you will get AM signal. That if you simplify, if you derive the time domain equation and if you divide the time domain equation, finally you will get three components. The first component is carrier, whose frequency is FC and whose amplitude is EC. The second component is upper sideband, its frequency is FC plus FM and its amplitude is MEC by 2. The third component is lower sideband. This is your lower sideband. MEC by 2 is the amplitude, FC minus FM is the frequency. With that you can derive the frequency spectrum also. This is the frequency spectrum. This is the carrier whose frequency is FC and amplitude is EC, and this is upper sideband whose frequency is FC plus FM and whose amplitude is MEC by 2, and this is the lower sideband whose frequency is FC minus FM and amplitude is same as your upper sideband. You remember always on x-axis frequency will be there for frequency spectrum graph, and you can easily calculate the bandwidth also. The bandwidth formula is F highest frequency minus F lowest frequency. What is the highest frequency? FC plus FM. What is the lowest frequency? FC minus FM. And if you calculate the bandwidth by using formula FH minus FL, that is the difference between highest frequency and lowest frequency, will give you 2 into FM. Next, overmodulation is a modulation in which the modulation index is more than 1. Because of that, distortion will occur, quality will be reduced, discontinuous will occur, the envelope will not track the message signal. And how to overcome this? You have to maintain modulation index less than 1, and it should never be exceed 100%, because modulation index is also measured in terms of percentage also. If modulation index is 1, which is same as 100%, if the modulation index is 0.7, which is same as 70%. Bandwidth calculation we discussed. Power relation. For calculation of power relation, you need time domain equation and its amplitude, because power depends on always amplitude, not frequency. If you look at the time domain equation, there are three components. One is carrier, whose amplitude is EC, and for carrier you will get a carrier power of EC square by 2R. This is the power contained in the carrier signal of AM signal. In normal DC circuits, the voltage square by R is the formula, whereas for AC circuits, RMS square by R. The RMS value of carrier is EC by root 2, and if you calculate EC by root 2 square, you will get EC square by 2. Similarly, for upper sideband, you will get M square EC square by 8R. For lower sideband is also M square E square by 8R. And you can simplify in this way, because EC square by 2R is equal to PC. When you substitute in this value, you will get lower sideband power is equal to M square by 4 into PC. This is lower sideband power is expressed in terms of PC, not EC and R. Similarly, upper sideband is also having same power because its amplitude is same, whereas frequencies are different. Upper sideband, lower sideband contain same power, and if you add these three powers, you will get total power. Finally, you will get PT is equal to PC into 1 plus M square by 2. This is the formula. PT is equal to PC into 1 plus M square by 2. Next, the next topic is DSB-SC modulation. In AM, that is in amplitude modulation, actually there are different types of amplitude modulation. One is amplitude modulation, AM. This is also called as double sideband full carrier, which contains two sidebands, upper and lower sidebands, and also it contains carrier, that is full carrier. The second one is DSB-SC, that is your double sideband suppressed carrier. Double sideband suppressed carrier, which contains only two sidebands, and carrier is suppressed or carrier is removed. Why we are going for double sideband suppressed carrier? So for every communication system, and if you employ any communication, two parameters are very important. One is power, the second one is bandwidth. For a best communication, power should be as much as less. Power should be as much as less. Similarly, bandwidth should be less. If a modulated signal takes less bandwidth and less power, that type of modulation performs good, gives good results. Right? When you look at the time domain equation of your AM signal, there are three components. One is unmodulated carrier, lower sideband, upper sideband, and carrier. Right? Out of these three components, if you look at its expression, the first term contains only omega C and EC, whereas second term contains both omega C minus omega M. Here there is omega M also. Here there is omega M, which is related to message or your modulated signal. Here also there is omega M. Whereas in this carrier there is no message frequency, or there is no message quantity, or you can say message in. There is no message in this signal. That is why instead of sending these three signals, you can send only upper and lower sideband to the receiver. The reason is, though the AM signal is producing three components, only three out of three, only two components are containing information, that is your message signal, whereas this third carrier does not contain any information, which is purely a carrier. Carrier is not containing any information. Hence, instead of sending three signals towards the receiver, you can send only two components, that is upper and lower sideband. The reason is the sidebands contain information, carrier does not contain any information. How? If you look at the expression, you can understand. In the unmodulated carrier there is no omega M, whereas lower sideband there is omega M, and in upper sideband also there is omega M. Hence you can remove carrier. That is nothing but your double sideband suppressed carrier. That means you are suppressing carrier and you are sending upper sideband and lower sideband. The advantage we get when you suppress carrier is power. Power is saved. Most of the power is saved. Already you know, for a good communication, the power contained in the signal should be as much as less. As much as less. So when you look at the total power of AM signal, PT is equal to PC into 1 plus m square by 2, and if you separate, PC plus PCM square by 2. By 2, PCM square by 2, right? That means this PC is carrier power. When you remove this carrier power, most of the power is saved. For simple example, if m equal to 1, if m equal to 1, what is the value of total power? PT is equal to m equal to 1. PC into 1 plus m square by 2, that is 1 square by 2, that is 1 by 2. So you will get, how much you will get? 1 plus 1 by 2, that is 3 by 2. So PT is equal to 3 by 2 times of PC, or PC equal to 2 by 3 times of PC, equal to 2 by 3 times of PC, or PC is equal to 2 by 3 means 0.75. Two by 3 means 0.66, not 0. PC is equal to 2 by 3rd, or 0.66 times of PT means 66.6 percentage of total power is in carrier. And if we send carrier along with sideband, it is taking how much power? 66% of total power. If there is 100 watt of AM signal, out of 100 watts, sidebands will take only 33.3 watts, and remaining 66.6 watts will be taken by your carrier. Hence, carrier can be suppressed. The reason is which is not containing any information, and if you remove carrier from the AM signal, the resultant modulation is double sideband suppressed carrier. The advantage we get is when you remove carrier, power is saved. How much power? 66.6 percentage of power is saved. And what about bandwidth? Bandwidth does not change. Bandwidth remains same because upper sideband is FC plus FM. This is plus actually FC minus FM. There is no change in the upper band, upper frequency. Need for SSB, SC modulation. So there is Vermont modulation, SSB, single sideband suppressed carrier. So there are actually 4 types of AM modulation. One is AM, amplitude modulation, double sideband suppressed carrier, single sideband, and there is one more modulation, VSB, vestigial sideband. These are 3 modulations in addition to AM. Right? There are 4 modulations. So in AM there are 3 components, carrier, upper and lower. In double sideband suppressed carrier there is only 2 components, one is upper and lower, whereas single sideband modulation or single sideband suppressed carrier, it contains only single sideband and carrier is also suppressed, hence it is called single sideband suppressed carrier. So for single sideband modulation, carrier is suppressed, any one of the sidebands, either this or this is suppressed. So for simplicity I am suppressing lower sideband, so only this upper sideband is sent towards the receiver. The advantage we get is, yes, what is the advantage we get? The advantage once again we get is power saving. Power is saved. Power is saved. So when you remove carrier, 66% is saved, and the remaining 33% is in sidebands, and the 33% of sideband is shared equally by each sideband. Upper sideband is half of 33%, lower sideband is half of 33%, that means around 17%. For upper sideband 17%, for lower sideband or 16%, you can take 16%. Upper sideband takes 16%, lower sideband takes 16%. So carrier is taking how much power? 66, whereas sidebands are taking 33%, that is upper sideband is 16%. Similarly lower sideband is once again 16%. So if I remove these two things, I will get around 66 plus 16, 72 plus 82, around 82% of power is saved. 82% of power is saved, that is the advantage we get. Advantage we get in single sideband. In single sideband suppressed carrier, the amplitudes, most of the power is saved, around 82%. How much power? 82% is saved. Because why we are suppressing any one of the sidebands? Because the two sidebands are containing same information, that is first sideband is containing same information, second sideband is also containing same information. When you look at the time domain equation, here there is omega m, here is also there is omega m. So instead of sending two omega m's, if I send only one omega m, that is sufficient for the receiver. And instead of sending carrier, we are suppressing carrier. So one carrier is suppressed and one sideband is suppressed. Only one sideband is sent. Because finally we need message either from upper sideband or from lower sideband, not from the both. And we don't need any carrier to be reached towards the receiver, because carrier is not containing any information. And we are sending only one sideband. Instead of sending two sideband, we are sending only one sideband. Right. That is the need of single sideband communication. Advantages, bandwidth, and we got one more advantage in single sideband. Bandwidth becomes half. Bandwidth is half. Whereas in upper sideband, in double sideband suppressed carrier, there is no change in the bandwidth. Bandwidth is not varied, because the reason is the highest frequency is Fc plus Fm and lowest frequency is Fc plus Fm. In this, Fc plus Fm is the highest frequency and Fc minus Fm is the lowest frequency. Even though carrier is removed, there is no change in the lower and highest frequency. That is why the bandwidth remains same in this one, double sideband suppressed carrier. Only power is saved. Whereas in this, total bandwidth is also saved. The bandwidth becomes half. Initially the bandwidth is 2 times initially the bandwidth is 2 into Fm. Now the bandwidth becomes only Fm for SSB Fm. Whereas for double sideband suppressed carrier as well as AM, the bandwidth remains same. Disadvantage of SSB, it's complex. The generation reception is complicated because you need to remove, add and all those things you require. Receiver design is also complex and you need to send pilot signal. How do we get SSB or DSB from AM? So there is no separate technique to generate DSB-SC or even for SSB-SC also. So in order to generate SSB or DSB-SC, first you need to generate AM only. So from AM, if you remove carrier, that becomes DSB-SC. If you remove both the carrier and as well as one sideband, that becomes SSB. So for removing carrier or for removing upper sideband or lower sideband, you require a circuit called filter. What do you require? Filter. You require filter. And applications are SSB is used in telephony, that is analog communication, that is telephony, voice communication, mobile communication, that is also analog mobile communication, telemetry, military communication, navigation, and amateur radio. Vestigial sideband, need for vestigial sideband. Vestigial sideband means it is also one of the amplitude modulation technique. In this, it is some modification in SSB. In SSB, which contains only one sideband, whereas in vestigial sideband, VSB contains one sideband, one full sideband, and portion of other sideband also. Portion of other sideband or vestige of slice of other sideband, only little portion. So that is called vestigial sideband. Why we go for VSB? The reason for VSB-SC is VSB or VSB-SC both are same. In SSB as well as in your SSB as well as VSB, there is no carrier. The reason is generally VSB is used in video transmission in television communication. Picture signals of television occupy a bandwidth of about 6 MHz. If the transmission is done using normal AM, a bandwidth of 12 MHz is required. In order to save the bandwidth, we can transmit using only one sideband. The major advantage of SSB is that it reduces the bandwidth, but SSB signals are relatively difficult to generate due to the difficulty in the isolating the desired sideband. The required filter must have a sharp characteristic, particularly when the baseband signal contains low frequencies. So this is very important, right? If you observe television communication, in television communication there are two modulated signals. One is picture, other one is audio or voice. So for sending picture, people will use AM, amplitude modulation. If you employ amplitude modulation, it sends carrier, upper sideband, lower sideband. And by sending carrier and upper sideband, lower sideband, the bandwidth required becomes 2 times of FM. Okay, 2 times of FM. The highest frequency of the picture signal is 5 MHz or approximately 6 MHz. Okay. When you send only one sideband, the bandwidth would be 5 MHz. When you send two sideband, the bandwidth would be 10 MHz. So instead of sending two sidebands which contain same information, I can send only one sideband and which takes less bandwidth. In that space, you can send other sideband also. This is carrier picture 1, this is picture 2. Earlier you sent only one picture with two sidebands which is occupying 10 MHz. Now we are sending two sides. This is one sideband, this is other sideband. This is picture 1, this is picture 2, and its bandwidth is 10 MHz. When you send only one picture which takes two sidebands which are of same wastage of bandwidth. But this is nothing but SSB. When you apply SSB, one of the sideband should be exactly suppressed. That means for suppressing sideband, for removing sidebands and carrier, you require filter. The designing of filter is very important, because when you remove one sideband by using a practical filter, the problem is the filter not only removes the sideband, undesired sideband, but also some portion of desired band also. I will show one diagram. suppressed portion of USB. This is let's suppose this is your spectrum, this is lower sideband, this is upper sideband. So when you want to remove this total sideband, it not only removes this lower sideband but also some portion of the upper sideband also removes. So that is why instead of sending only one sideband, it sends one full sideband and some portion of lower sideband also. This is called your vestige, and its frequency is FV. Why we are sending extra portion of the other sideband which is undesired? The reason is the characteristic of picture signal is the picture signal always lies their strength at low frequencies. Baseband signal contains low frequencies. Television baseband signal contains low frequencies. When you suppress any one of the sideband, it also suppresses other sideband which is desired. That is why instead of sending only one sideband, one vestige, one portion of other sideband is also sent. This is your vestigial sideband. The application of vestigial sideband is your what do you call your television communication, right? Okay, so in the earlier class we discussed about frequency modulation, not frequency modulation, vestigial sideband, right? Vestigial sideband. In vestigial sideband, in addition to one full sideband, a vestige of other sideband is also sent to protect the lower frequency components. The vestigial sideband is only for the modulation techniques or the systems which are having low frequency components at the transition of the sidebands. So when you suppress one sideband, not only filter suppress one sideband but also some portion of other sideband is also suppressed. Hence for vestigial sideband you require an ideal filter. That ideal filter is practically impossible. Hence the practical filter not only cuts its undesired filter but also some portion of the desired filter is also cut. In this way the vestigial sideband is mainly used for television communication, where most of the television signals are located at low frequency components. Applications: it is mainly used for video signal television broadcasting, which contains frequency up to 4.0 megahertz. So this is the main application in television communication. For picture transmission we use this modulation technique, right? Next వచ్చేసి what is the topic, need for angle modulation. So with that amplitude modulation is completed. The next modulation in analog communication or your continuous wave modulation techniques is angle modulation. So in angle modulation there are two types: frequency modulation as well as phase modulation. Why we go for angle modulation? It is also one of the continuous wave modulation. In angle modulation, timing parameters are changed, either phase or frequency are changed according to message signal. You can save power. The advantage of angle modulation is you can save power. You can save. Most of the power is wasted. The amplitude of angle modulated signal remain constant. This characteristic has the advantage of significantly improving immunity to noise and interference. Power saving. You can save power. Right? You can save power. You can save. So in amplitude modulation, amplitude of the carrier is varied, whereas in angle modulation, either frequency or phase of the carrier is varied. But the amplitude is kept constant. Always the amplitude is kept constant. This is the main advantage of angle modulation. When the amplitude of the carrier is kept constant, the power remains same. Even though when you change modulation index, when you change anything, the power remains same because amplitude is constant. When amplitude is constant, the power only depends on amplitude, and it gives improved system fidelity and more efficient use of power. No power is wasted when you send all the sidebands also, because in angle modulation timing parameters are changed according to your message signal, whereas in amplitude modulation amplitude of the carrier is varied. That is also one of the advantage of angle modulation. Types of angle modulation: frequency modulation and phase modulation. There are two types of modulation: frequency modulation and phase modulation. In frequency modulation, frequency of the carrier is varied according to message signal. In phase modulation, phase of the carrier is varied according to message signal. Right? These are the two types of angle modulations. The next one is your time domain equation. How to derive time domain equation of your FM signal? To derive time domain equation, as we did in the AM time domain equation, in that we are required to calculate the amplitude of the AM signal, because phase is constant. There is no change in the frequency, there is no change in the phase angle. Whereas here in frequency modulation, you need to calculate the value of the frequency. The frequency is changed. So in frequency modulation takes place when the angular velocity of the carrier wave is varies in proportion with the instantaneous amplitude of the modulated signal. Right? Whereas the amplitude of the FM signal is same as the amplitude of the carrier. Carrier amplitude is same as the FM signal amplitude, but you need to calculate omega I. Wait, I'll take pen so that it becomes easy for you to understand. So omega I, you need to calculate omega I. The standard form of FM time domain equation is EC sin omega I t. EC is the amplitude of FM signal, which is same as carrier, and omega I is depending on two things. One is frequency of the carrier as well as message signal, right? So that is why omega I is the sum of omega c plus kf into Vm, where kf is the frequency sensitivity. kf into Vm cos omega mt, where cos omega mt is the message signal, right? And we need a constant called k because message signal, instantaneous of message signal is represented by Vm cos omega t, whose units are volts, whereas the omega c units are having units of radians per second. That is why you cannot add angular frequency as well as volts. That is why you need to multiply a constant kf phase frequency sensitivity. Okay. So when there is no message signal, the frequency sensitivity of the angular frequency, the instantaneous angular frequency of FM signal is same as the angular frequency of carrier when there is message, which is added here. This is added. Okay. And what is the maximum value of angular frequency of the FM signal is omega c plus kf Vm, because this cos omega mt is maximum value is +1. What is the minimum value? -. So that is why omega is equal to omega c plus kf into Vm, and we are denoting this term kf into Vm as delta f. Delta f. Delta f or delta omega, right? So this is your angular instantaneous angular frequency, but we need to calculate theta, because what is the standard equation of your FM signal? EC sine or cos. Okay, sine or cos. This theta you need to calculate. In this theta there are two things, omega it plus phi. We are neglecting this phi because it is 0 always. We need to calculate omega it. What is omega it? You don't know theta, but you know omega I. From omega I theta, how theta can be calculated? How can theta be calculated? There is simple formula, integration, right? Theta I is equal to integration of omega I dt. Here they have written. Dt. Then you substitute k omega c plus kf Vm cos omega in t dt, omega I dt, omega c into dt, omega ct into plus kf Vm cos omega ct dt. Because we are differentiating, we are integrating with respect to dt will be cancelled, and we will get omega c into t, and here integration of cos sine, and we are integrating with respect to time. That is why you need to divide with omega m, because what is the multiplier of t? Omega m. Here omega m is there, that is why you need to divide with omega m. So omega ct plus kf Vm omega m sin omega mt, and here what is kf Vm? Here we have denoted kf Vm as delta omega. So we are writing delta omega by omega m, delta omega by omega sin omega mt. In general, what is delta omega is equal to 2 pi f, or delta omega is 2 pi delta f. So delta omega by 2 pi delta f, so omega ct plus 2 pi delta f by 2 pi fm sin omega mt. So omega ct plus mf sin omega mt, where mf is the modulation index of your FM signal, where 2 pi will be cancelled, delta f by fm will be remained, delta f by fm. The delta f by fm indicates modulation index of FM. So instantaneous amplitude of FM signal is given by Vfm is equal to Vc sin phi I, where phi I is equal to omega ct plus mf sin omega mt. This is the time domain equation of your FM signal. You can explain in this way also. Here you can see In the first step, modulated signal is equal to em cos omega mt. In the second step, let carrier frequency can be expressed as EC sin omega ct plus theta t, where omega c is the angular frequency of the carrier, EC is the amplitude of the carrier. Initially theta naught is initially phase at t equal to 0. Let phi is equal to omega ct plus theta naught, represent the total instantaneous phase angle of the carrier. EC equal to EC sin phi, where phi equal to omega ct plus theta, phi naught, theta naught. Omega c is equal to d phi by dt. After frequency modulation, frequency of the carrier no longer remains constant but varies with time in accordance with the instantaneous value of the amplitude modulated signal. Thus, the instantaneous frequency W of the carrier frequency after frequency modulation is given by omega c plus kf into em. Frequency conversion factor is known as kf. Omega c t dt. Kf here, and you will get kf cos omega phi naught. Okay, and finally if you substitute in this equation, you will get EC sin EC cos or sin. Okay, it is up to you. If you use cos, you will get in terms of sin. When you use sin, you will get in terms of cos. So this is the time domain equation of your FM signal. Next, modulation index of FM signal. So while we are deriving time domain equation of FM signal, we got a term called delta f. We got a term called, wait for a while, use finger. We got a term called delta f by FM. This is known as your modulation index. Modulation index of FM signal is given by the ratio of frequency deviation to the modulating frequency, MF, delta f by FM. The numerator is frequency deviation, the denominator is frequency of modulating signal. This is known as your modulation index. The next one is noise triangle, right? What is noise triangle? What is noise triangle? Noise triangle is one, the distribution of noise in FM is in the shape of triangle compared to AM. In AM, the distribution of noise is rectangle. The noise is same because AM covers only low frequencies. Generally, AM is used for transmitting low frequency messages, whereas FM can be used not only low frequency but also high frequency. So when you look at this diagram, the AM noise distribution is constant. Even though the frequency is on x-axis, frequency will be there. Even though the frequency is increasing, the noise distribution is constant. whereas in FM, when the frequency of the message is increasing, it slowly the noise also increases, whereas in AM it is constant. Here is also constant. These two are noise triangles only. This is also one triangle, this is also one triangle, but this FM signal is this A diagram, figure A indicates one modulation index, B indicates other modulation index. So hence the noise distribution is in the form of triangle. Hence FM, in FM, noise is, the effect of noise is more at low and high frequencies, because on x axis what is there? Frequency. At low frequency the noise effect is less, whereas at high frequency the noise effect is more, right? And when you increase the modulation index, the noise effect can also be reduced, whereas in case of AM the noise effect is constant. Hence it is called as your noise triangle. Distribution of noise is in the form of triangle, hence it is called as noise triangle. This is for FM only. Right. So this is about FM. So in today's class we discussed about many topics like what is need of DSB, SC and SSB, and what are the advantages and disadvantages of SSB, applications of SSB, what is vestigial sideband, applications of VSB, need for angle modulation, types of angle modulation techniques, time domain equation for FM signal, and modulation index for FM signal, what is a noise triangle. These are the topics we covered, right? In the next class we are going to will be discussing comparison between AM FM and PM and types of FM, and what is the need of pre-emphasis, de-emphasis, and what are their definitions, right? Okay, thank you. We will meet in the next session. Thank you.